Unless you want to watch all of the comments.
We're live here on Plus One EXP's Roll for Content channel. My name is Tony Vicenda. I'm Chief Alchemist here at Plus One EXP, which is a weird little brand which multi-classes in tabletop game design, beard, and skincare alchemy and the Bardic College of Content Creation. Our hope and desire is to help amazing designers find great players who love their games and help amazing players find great designers whose games they can love. We do that in a lot of different ways, but the most fun way is to sit down and play those games with the people who created them. Tonight, we have two of the folks behind NightThings joining us, along with my good buddy Jarrett from over at Exalted Funeral. Halo and Free, why don't you guys tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and tell us a little bit about NightThings. Halo, why don't you go first?
Hey, I'm Halo Hand. I do moderation over at the Necropolis, and I've got this little game that I created. I played RPGs since early 80s when my mother was in college, and she got excited about them and bought like the Redbox D&D set, and me and all my friends pretty much pretended to play until we actually got the rules later on. And I've played games all through high school, college, all of that stuff, and then took a long break for work. And then recently, probably about 5 years ago, started getting back into things and getting into the indie game scene, learning about different things. I feel like I've done all I can do with Dungeons and Dragons, which is not a bad thing against Dungeons and Dragons or 5e or anything like that. But just started trying to explore other avenues, and so that's how I came up with this NightThings game that I've got going. It was originally just supposed to be kind of like a horror game that dealing with it was a little bit darker in originally, but then we kind of took a lighter approach to it. But mainly when I was young, I was the youngest out of all of the cousins and everybody, and so I was very small, and compared to everyone else, there's probably like a 6-year age difference between me and the nearest cousin. So I was, I was the smallest one, and so oftentimes I always felt like everybody, was more in control of everything, and I wasn't. Also, there were these times when, especially during the winter months, I'd fall asleep and I'd wake up, and it would seem like everything was larger than life. Like the living room would be like the size of a coliseum, a TV being miles away from me. And in looking into that, I found that there's a thing called Alice in Wonderland syndrome, and then also like depersonalization, macroposia and stuff. And I'm probably pronouncing that really wrong, but anyway, I started thinking about that and what it would be like to be young children faced with real monsters, but having the power to fight back. And so that's where NightThings comes from. It's about little children and little kids standing up against those things that go bump in the night. So, so we'll see what you guys think of it, and I'm excited to play. A little nervous, first time on stream, so
it's gonna be great. It's real easy. You can tell Jarrett.
Yeah, so
I mean,
gentle.
We do it all the time.
Yep, we do it at least three times a month, and you do just fine.
Fantastic,
awesome. Free, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Fantastic. Hey, I'm Ifrit. He, him. Also Alex. You'll find me over at the Necropolis. Also moderator, or Psychopomp, as we've dubbed ourselves over there. Similar to Halo Hand, I've been playing for ages, also of the Mensner Redbox era of gameplay. Proceeded to play all sorts of different variations thereof, so Gamma World, and then moving on to Shadowrun and various Palladium games, etc., onward and onward until a couple of years ago when fiddling around with a horror module that I was working on for Traveler, ended up coming across Mothership, and that's what kind of led me to eventually meeting Jarrett and folks over at the Necropolis, and the fine folks at Exalted Funeral and everything, yourself, Tony, and Halo, who I've been playing with pretty much nonstop for the past couple of years during the pandemic. And we ended up commiserating about games and game development and design and all these different nuances while we played around with other systems. And then Halo came to me and was like, hey, let's try out this game that I came up with. This was around the time that I had incorporated Animoya Games, which is my imprint and publishing company, to put out my own game at some point in the nebulous future. But Halo brought it to me, and it was directly in line with what I'm trying to focus our efforts on, which is living and experiencing living memories through experience, like shared communal experience. And I felt that it spoke volumes to me, and I had a lot of fun when we originally play tested it, and now we are getting ready to go live on Kickstarter. We're in the review process, and so we will be providing links and things like that online very shortly to to back us.
Awesome. And we will make sure that when y'all go live, the link that's right below Halo's face, ttrpg.link /NightThings game, will go straight to that Kickstarter page. Also, so if you're watching this later, that'll go there. In the meantime, it's going to point you over towards Instagram when I connect it just a little bit later. But best place to thing to do right now is follow these folks on social media. Jarrett, do you want to say who you are?
I'm Jarrett.
Yay! We always use a couple different tools here on Plus One to keep our game on track and keep everyone comfortable, especially when dealing with themes of horror. Those are lines, veils. The X-Guard, we also use an open door policy. Lines are things that may happen in the world of our game, but don't happen in the course of our play of it. Veils are things that happen in a certain way, or we are handled in a certain way as we're playing. That maybe fade to black, only approaching things in a certain manner, just kind of going lighter on some of the tones around certain types of injuries or other things like that. And then the X card is the ability for anybody to pause the game at any point in time and say, hey, I've got an issue with this. It could just be confusion, could be that you don't like the content. We'll identify what the issue is, but no explanation is required, and then we're going to move forward in a different direction, removing that content for the game. We also have an open door policy, so you might see us need to get up, move around, stretch, eat, drink, do any number of things because we're real human people that exist outside of the couple inches of screen that you're seeing us on. Hopefully you're a real person also, but if you're not, welcome to our future robot overlords. We're glad you're here with us today. Please take care of yourself regardless of whether you are human or a machine. With that said, we have a strong line against sexual violence on the channel. Does anybody want to add any lines or veils? You can also add them just to the character keeper that we're using if you don't want to discuss them out loud, but if you have any what you want to name for the group. I also know that cats is kind of recommended in the game, which is a great system to kind of get everybody on the same page. Halo, do you want to go over any cat stuff after we've given people a chance to say lines or veils? Any lines, veils anyone wants to add? Halo, any things you want to go over for cats with us?
Well, this is going to be a horror game in the lines of something like, but lighter. I think that this is more something like scary stories to tell in the dark, or even Miyazaki meets, Gashly Chrome Tinies type thing. So, the aim is for us to tell a collaborative horror game, have some fun, maybe get a little spooky, and but have a good time overall. What is the next? What is T? That's
Tone.
Yeah.
Tone for
Tone. Tone for Tony. Yeah, so the tone, yeah, it's going to be, we won't have, it won't be too gory. It'll be more spooky than scary. Maybe a little scary. I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. I'll see what the lines and veils here have. I am looking to see if someone is enthusiastically consenting to spiders. I don't see that yet, so I'll hold off on that.
I mean, I can if you like. But
that's supposed to be me.
If you're looking for a really strong spider consent, that can,
Yeah, I was watching last week.
Yeah, Tony and I played in some spiders, and oddly enough, we've got a couple more. There's a couple of zines coming out in the next couple of months that are literally all spider based. 2022, the year of the spider.
It's a lot of things.
Yeah.
They deserve the love that's coming their way.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of spiders, so but if you want to pretend that they exist in this world, then yeah, why not? So
I mean, just think about it. When somebody doesn't hold your hand, you probably don't feel very good about it, and they have to feel that way 8 times over.
Exactly. All right.
In the chat, Gorgor Big is enthusiastically consenting to spiders.
Nice. Yeah. I have some terrible stories about spiders over my life. I'll share them outside of this if anybody cares to know. And last S, I forget what CAT stands for. I'm sorry. What is the
So
S?
you could have just said no. I don't want to do that. Scope.
Yeah. Yeah. We're gonna do a one shot here. We'll wrap it up. But the game is the game NightThings is there's some mechanics in there for growth for more than one shots and things like that. So but today we'll have a fun little thing. So
awesome. Well, with that said, I'm going to hand things over and let you take us into play.
Excellent. I'm just going to take a look at the lines and veils and make sure there's nothing. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't normally put any of this in my game, so I think we're all good here. So without further ado, I guess we get right in. So a couple of things. just basically real quick rundown on how the mechanics are. The mechanics are 2d6. There is a possibility for to roll with an advantage or disadvantage. Advantage will be 3d6, keep the highest 2 dice. Disadvantage will be roll 3d6 and take the 2 lowest. It's typical. There's nothing. You want to get an 8 equal to 8 or higher on your rolls. An 8 or higher is considered a success. Double sixes is considered a triumph, and that's something we'll get a little further into. But a triumph is it's everything you wanted. It's you get it's you triumph over everything that's happening at that moment, and you get the bonuses and things like that. Below a 7 and below is considered an endangered result, and what that means is that you either fail and take a point of dread, or you can choose to push that by using one of the points that are by one of the talents on your character sheet. And if you get double ones, then that's a fiasco. You have to make a despair roll, and that's rolling a 1d6 versus your current dread. And if you roll if you roll less than your dread, then you have to you lose a point of self. So there's not really damage in this game to where like you're not gonna, if you fail, it's more along the lines of losing yourself to despair rather than taking damage. So once you lose all 3 of your self, then your character's lost and the hound comes for you. So hopefully that won't happen tonight, but if it does, hopefully it'll be fun. And Jarrett, you're not sitting there all by yourself, not doing anything for the rest of the game. So, yeah. So basically, that's it. The other mechanic you need to keep in mind is that there is a mechanic for help. You can do help before or after, and what that is just it's a similar thing where you make a roll, and if you get a success or higher, then you can give a point to the other player to bump their result up 1. So if they were going to fail, then you would automatically bump them to success. That can be done before or after. The way that I envision that is either you could give someone a boost up to get through up a higher place, or if they ran and jumped and missed, you could reach down and grab their hand. So hopefully all that will come easy. And but yeah, let's get into NightThings. The way this is going to start out is that you see a flash of darkness. You see if you remember splashing of water, the sound of hands or feet slapping the ground, and then suddenly you are in blackness. And as you're in blackness, you realize that you are inside some sort of sack or some sort of sheet or something. And you begin to hear a whirring sound and like a clickety clack, and the temperature around you seems to get hotter and hotter, and you are aware of the grunt and thrashing of a couple of others who you would assume are in the same situation that you're in yourselves. And I should say this, that you are moving. You have the sense that you are moving in blackness, but you don't see anything.
Okay. And do we have a sense that we are still inside the bag?
Yes, you are in bags.
Cool.
Yeah.
I just want to pull out my pocket knife and try to cut a little hole in the bag and see if I can see out.
All right. Yeah. So, yes, no roll for that. Yeah. You pull out your pocket knife and you cut a little hole. It seems to be like made of burlap, and you see a little twinkling of a reddish light up ahead in the direction that you're going, and in front of you see another sack that seems to be kind of like like a garbage sack or something, and it's hanging from what appears to be a meat hook, and you're being pulled along on like a gondola wire.
I'm gonna try to cut the hole a little bit wider and reach my arm out and cut into the garbage bag material.
Okay. Yeah, and well, maybe garbage bag is the wrong thing, but yeah, it's another
black.
Yeah, it's a dark sack, and
Okay.
Yeah. So when you do that, and I'm sorry, let me look at your characters' names real quick here. So, so yeah, you reach across, and as you cut into that, it's the person in front of you. It happens to be Jarrett. Your character, you are Janie. Yeah.
Janie Jaguar.
Janie Jaguar. Excellent. So Janie, you are aware of like a nudging and bumping behind you, and as you're kind of coming to and everything, you realize a couple of things. One, you're in a sack, and you're kind of compressed into it. It's getting hotter and hotter, and something is cutting through said sack behind you.
Would you say it's getting hotter, like you're like just the ambient room temperature, or just like in sack? Because I'm just like scrabbling around and like freaking out, like, "What's up, jokers? Hey, who's that poking? Who's that poking me? What are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you poking me?
Hey,
why are you poking me?"
I saw a bag and I didn't know it was in the bag. Are you in the bag?
You always just poke random bags every time you see them, huh, wise guy?
I mean, 9 out of 10 times I'm going to poke that bag. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, get you careful. You don't want to stab me in the foot or something.
Oh, no. I poked at the top, so I would have stabbed you in the shoulder or not at all.
Well, hurry up and get the rest of this open. Where we at? Who are you? What are we doing?
Yeah, and so Ollie, you're hearing this go on as you come to as well.
Yeah. So here's a system question. How proficient are we with our oddities at this point?
It would just be the regular rolls at this point. Yeah. So
okay. I kind of feel like Ollie's engulfed by this darkness, or the darkness within the bag, the inherent shadows therein, and perhaps he can kind of, it's almost as though it's a clear plastic bag for him versus anything else. So he sees the other two. So I suppose I need to make a roll.
Just for something like that, I wouldn't really think that.
Okay.
Because part of the Alex's character Ollie has the oddity of the gloaming.
The gloaming.
Yes, and the gloaming is the ability to manipulate and pass through shadow. So he doesn't see shadows as the same as the rest of you, or even darkness. So that's kind of an innate thing. So. So you can kind of see through the bag, and you see two other shadow shapes up there. And while all this is going on,
I'm gonna kind of like shake the very top of it and be like, come poke the top of this bag. Get me out of here. Who's out there? You guys.
Yeah, hold on. See my arm like.
I'm just gonna like wiggle,
snake out,
this
like,
bag here,
swivel around.
Yeah, and so while all this has been happening, that light that you saw in the beginning is getting closer and closer, and now you can see that it is a rectangular shape with these longer ends on the sides and the shorter ends on top. So it's kind of like a doorway, but smaller. And you do see that the cable that you are on is passing into that room as well.
Is it moving kind of like in a start-stop, like we slide, and then we kind of like wave back and forth a little bit?
It's kind of continuous, but it's not a smooth continuous. That's what the clicking, clacking sounds that you hear. It's kind of it's kind of a bumpy ride. So yeah.
Hey, you with the knife? You give me cut. If you cut a little bit, we can all move at the same time, and we can make it tear faster. We can get out of here, wherever the hell here is.
I mean, if you want me to, I guess. I thought you didn't want me to stab at you.
I don't want you to stab me, idiot.
Well, I mean, I wasn't going to stab you. I was just going to, I was just poking. You see a bag. 9 times out of 10, you got to poke that bag.
Is this what you do?
That's not what people would do where I'm from.
Where are you from?
Tallahassee.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so go ahead, Tony.
I'll cut the line.
Well, the line is actually made of like steel braided cord. So
Oh, boo.
yeah, boo. Sorry.
Almost like the GM planned it that way.
I did not actually.
These are well-engineered gondolas wherever we are.
Look, you start kidnapping little kids to bring them into your nightmare realm. You
Right.
solidify the process real quick.
Yes,
Right,
yeah,
right. You
yeah.
don't cut corners on the engineers.
Yeah, it's not cutting.
Well, whatever. We're just gonna keep moving. And Janie starts just kind of like trying to shift as much as she can in the bag, she's trying to get out. Poke the bag. Poke the bag. Go ahead, poke the bag.
I don't know if that's a good idea. I don't know about the structural integrity of these things.
Now, can I use a whiteboard, Tony? Is that okay?
Yeah. Do me a favor and draw. Yeah. Are you going to use the built-in one?
Yeah. Is that okay?
Yeah. We may have to rearrange some things as we go, but we'll be fine. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. It's giving me the option to share with one person. And it has you. That's it. So
to just share with one person? That's interesting. You should be able to share it with everybody. Let's do this actually instead then.
Okay.
I'm gonna grab us. I guess that means if I do that, nobody will be able to see y'all's beautiful faces. It's Jamboard.
Am I still in the bag?
Everyone's a little bit in the bag.
We're both still in the bag, you idiots. Jesus.
Let me out of here.
yeah.
I'm gonna drop a
Ollie's
link
not
into the
patient.
chat. This will be a little bit easier anyways to pop up on screen.
All right.
So this is going to be a link to no. Editor. Anyone with the link? Copy link. I'm just going to drop it right here in the Google Meet real quick. This is a Jamboard we can all look at and see, and I can pop up on the screen for
Excellent.
everyone watching. All right. Was everybody able to grab that link?
Yeah.
I'm good. Sorry, I haven't got to run games in probably like a month, so I'm gonna get all my bad attempts at silly voices out tonight.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds great to me.
Okay, great.
Janie's exactly the kind of person I want to get stuck in a sack with.
Yeah, idiots.
All right.
All right. Let me know if you can see that.
Yep.
Yep.
All right. So, yeah. So, as you're all, trying to tear through the bags and everything, it all happens at once. They start to tear and rip open just as you're coming out of the opening, and you come, and this would be out of the top left opening that you see on the screen, and you come tumbling out on top of some kind of in very varying stages of decomposition, cabbages and tomatoes and garlic and onions and things like that are all in these little crates, and you go tumbling out onto the floor.
Is there a crate marked humans?
Not that you see.
Does it smell like anything? I mean, it smells like probably like, fresh vegetables.
Oh yeah, it smells like hell in here. It's rotting, rotting vegetables, rotting tomatoes, cabbage, onions, garlic. The room is insanely hot. If you thought the passageway where you were coming down the gondola was hot, this is twice as hot. It's a good 100 degrees and 100% humidity in here. Looking around the room, you see the gondola continues on out another hole in the opposite wall. And the hooks that you were hanging from, remnants of your sack are still on there as they go riding through the other side. You see a huge pipe dripping scalding hot water to your upper left. You can see that up at the top. And on the other side, directly from you, is a massive doorway. Now, what I'm going to do in this, since your characters are essentially about 2 feet tall, I'm going to just describe the rooms in what, I won't describe them as, gigantic or anything. I'll just describe them in normal dimensions. And you just remember that, you're smaller than average. So it's probably a good, 15 by 15 room. Like I said, across, you see a doorway that's, it's larger than any doorway you've ever seen, probably 10 or 15 feet tall and like 6 feet wide. It is wide open. There's no door there. But the curious thing that you do see, that there are 3 sacks hanging from meat hooks on the side of the wall, and each of them has kind of a darker liquid that is dripping onto the floor.
I have a question.
Okay.
Was Janie 2 feet tall when she was in Tallahassee, or is us being 2 feet tall a new thing?
Yes. Yes. You consider yourself normal size, but here you seem.
Here we seem to be 2 feet tall. That's what I was trying to. Yeah,
yes,
trying to.
yeah.
So
taller than you idiot. and she's a good like 3 or 4 inches shorter than Lumps. Like definitely stands there, hands on her hips. She got Wendy's hair, braids, bright red shock, and they're standing on end, like they're just like standing on end like antenna.
Pippi Longstocking.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna grab kind of a particularly rotten onion, and write lump got dumped on the wall.
Lump got dumped on the wall. All right.
This will help us find our way back if we need to.
Okay. Doing that with an onion, you said?
Yeah, just an old rotten, like any rotten vegetable matter. I think I can write with.
Okay.
It's going up on the wall.
Yeah, and from this point on, you all, Tony's character just reeks of just as bad as the room does itself. So,
I already did. It's fine. I was a 12-year-old boy. So,
earning the name Lump. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Yeah. So I'm doing that.
Are all of the hooks and everything out of reach, or I'm assuming that they are for a 2 foot tall children?
Yeah, absolutely. If you were to able to drag one of the crates over and possibly stand on someone's shoulder, you could get one of the hooks off of the side there. There's it's an impossibility of you reaching the gondola line, though. That's far ahead, way up higher. But also, I want to just point out that there are no other sacks that have come in since the 3 of you fell off.
Is the gondola, is the line still moving, or like kind of like twanging? Does it seem like it's like vibrating, like things are traveling on it further down the line?
Yeah, that's a big possibility. It is still moving in that jerking motion that you all of you experienced as it was coming through, and like I said, the clickety clack of it, and like a whirring sound, and the room beyond where you are now seems to be where the heat and a lot of other noises are coming from.
Okay,
I'm gonna lift my head up and I'm like, phew, it really stinks in here. Let's get out of here.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. Yeah. And as we make my way over to the door, I mean, I got to try to poke at one of those sacks, like,
Yeah.
like I jump up and like whether I reach them or not is indeterminate. I actually, as a player, have a feeling I may not want to. I like jump up and try to swipe at the bottom of one of them with my knife.
Yeah, so Joe, yeah, you're too low. But as you get up there, the smell that you smell coming from those sacks is far worse than the smell that you smelled previously in the room.
Hey guys, this is sack number 10. Each of these.
These things smell worse than you do. What's your name anyway?
That's the room.
What's both of your names anyway?
Yeah, so let's do that. Let's get introductions. Let's each of you tell us what we're seeing when we look at you.
When you look at Tommy, you see kind of squishy looking 12-year-old boy with brown hair and weird lumps all over his body. You can't tell if they're bee stings or if he's got some sort of skin issue going on exactly. But lots of lumps though, and like one really big one on his eyebrow.
Oh.
Imagine an Animal Crossing individual who needs medicine because they got
yeah, totally. Ollie.
They call me Tommy Lumpkins.
And my character's a bit shy. He kind of steps forward and says, "Hi, I'm Oliver, Ollie." And yeah, he's a. My description here is a dour little fellow, but a good friend. And his defining feature is that his eyes are completely black. Like if you're wearing, the sclera lenses for a horror movie or whatever, they're just like that. And that's an artifact of the gloaming.
It's got some Dead Boy Detective vibes going on there. Absolutely. Right. I like that one. And Janie Jaguar is smarter than they all. Janie Jaguar she's several inches shorter than these two. But she's got the Pippi Longstocking Wendy's braids but they're standing straight up like an antenna, and she's, as we know, always cracking wise and fast talking. She likes to call people idiots. And she's got a pair of ski goggles that she wears on her forehead all the time,
nice.
All the time.
Excellent.
All the time.
Oh, I forgot a memento. I need to do that.
Also, thanks Garbage Sandwich for the sub. We really appreciate it.
I thought you were talking to in character to me. I didn't realize you.
Yeah, Tommy leans over over to Janie and says, "Thanks, Garbage Sandwich."
Which is, it's a fantastic username, and now it's canonical. Idiots.
Yeah. So as all of you are getting acquainted with each other, you start getting more accustomed to the room and the sights and the sounds and the smells, actually. And that's when, since you're standing close to the door, that's when you start hearing heavy footfalls from the room next to you. And that's when you start paying also attention to the sound of, in your mind, what you would think would be someone sharpening a knife, that kind of a sound. And then the sound of chopping vegetables.
We better hide. Let's go. Maybe we'll take a look at the boxes and see if I'm just taking a look at the picture that you posted. Is if the footsteps are approaching, I figure we can get some cover in behind that lump in the bottom right.
Okay.
I'm not in the bottom right.
Okay.
This place smells worse than you do, idiot.
I want to peer around the corner.
Into the other room?
Yeah.
Okay. So Ollie, as you peer around the corner, you see that it seems to be an older style kitchen. There's everything is wood tones. There's huge beams that crisscross across the ceiling. You see the gondola wire moving through that room and actually out the other side of the room as well. You see, and attached to the top of the gondola, you see a belt going over to some sort of contraption on the other side, which goes down onto a table, which appears to be some sort of, I'll give this to you. It's like a millstone going, and you see a sack underneath with the meal pouring out into it and everything, and you hear the water rushing in this room as well, as mixed in with the heat from the room from a wood burning stove on the other side. There are two huge tables with two large figures that seem to be preparing some sort of food at this point. Give me so I'll describe this, but you're gonna have to give me like a fear check here. So
Okay.
it'd just be a 2d6, and you try to get 8 or higher, or you're gonna take a point of dread from it. But as you're doing that, I'll tell you what you see. You see this gigantic hulking form, which his head is like as wide as his body, and it seems like to be a lump of angry flesh pressed into the top of where a head should be, melded into the shoulders with two black alien beetle eyes and a giant perpetual smile of a mouth filled with too many teeth. He's wearing an apron, and it seems that each part of his torso and his legs and his arms are of all the same girth. And he just seems to be very he seems just like a lump of flesh, but also he seems very, very powerful. And to his side, you see a female cutting the vegetables, and she is skeletal thin, with a mask of a human face stretched across where her skull, and pinned all around, holding it onto her face, and then with her hair pushed back with rows and rows of bobby pins as she's
she's
cutting vegetables.
As Ollie peeks around the corner, he's like, his eyes go wide like saucers as he sees all of this, and not so good. 6.
Okay, so you take a point of dread.
Take a point of dread.
Take a point of dread. And so in the mechanic for dread, it's more of a until you have to start making despair rolls. Right now this is just more of a narrative device for you. So it's scary. What you saw is not something you wanted to see, and not something you've ever seen before. And most likely not a room that you want to go into. So
so quick squeak later. I'm gonna pull my head back from the corner of the door and run over to where Tommy and Janie are, and tell them what I saw over there. They're like, it's big. Head is this big. Huge.
Just out of character. Halo. Yeah, no, it's not going to be as dark. Wow, buddy! Wow. There's this guy, and he's like got like a thumbprint head, and
there may be sacks with dead little ones in them dripping in the corner.
Yeah, it's not as dark.
Well, I mean, did you read Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark? Did you remember those?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So they're kind of a little surprisingly scary, but they're not super gory. I aim for more of it to be a little more of a shock value rather than just a
it's working.
That's why we only see the rotting fruit and the rotting veggies versus body
rotting
parts.
corpses.
You put the dead bodies in.
Well, you have to wonder what they're grinding over there, right?
No, I don't have to. I got it. It's good telegraphing. You saw what? That doesn't sound real.
You can go see for yourself if you want.
I mean, people,
but I don't recommend it.
People don't look like that. Says this lump and misshapen little boy.
And another thing, Ollie, don't forget of their size comparatively to what you are. Yeah. They're not normal adult size. They're gargantuan.
Right. Exactly. I was trying to relay that with like the hands all the way up towards the ceiling.
All right. I'll go look and get a good read on these folk. As I'm walking that way, I I want to sniff the air, and see if I can tell what they're cutting up and cooking out there.
Okay. Yeah, and so yeah, I'm going to ask you to, since this will be the first time you see a night thing, then I want you to give me a fear check as well. So that'd be 2d6, 8 or higher.
I got a 9.
9. Okay, so you're
Nice.
you're able. It's a shock. You see what Ollie saw, but you're able to contain your fear and and push back the dread. What you do see, you see similar to the vegetables that you see. It seems that the woman is cutting up what looks like vegetables, but they are rotten of the rotten variety. You see several saucepans on a stove. You get the smell you get is some sort of meat stew, sort of.
I'm smelling. I'm actually smelling for those herbs and spices. I want to know how they're garnishing this.
Yeah, and there is and that's another thing I forgot to mention. There is on the opposite wall from them, there is rows and rows and rows of spices on spice racks, and I'm talking jars the size of you guys, floor to ceiling. And this room is considerably larger than the room that you're in, the little small pantry that you're in. So this is probably like a 30 by 30 room. And yeah, just tons and tons of spices. Some of them a little questionable in the labels that you kind of glean as you quickly look in.
I'm gonna back over and be like, they're not that big, and then I'm gonna go check it out. I want to go try to
feel like
sneak around the edge of the room over toward the spice cabinet.
All right. Yeah. So, yeah, Tommy Lumpkins, I see that you do have a talent for sneaking. So, and that is your primary talent. So you go ahead and give yourself a +2 to your roll.
Cool.
Real quick here, Tony, when you created your character, there should have been, you don't have any points beside any of your talents or anything.
Oh, what do I do with that?
Yeah. So, with talents, each one of you get 1 box free for all of them. And then for your oddity, you get 3 boxes for those. And then you roll a 1d. Wait, no, one checkbox for oddity as well, and then roll a 1d6 and distribute.
On top of that?
Yes.
And is that how many times I can use them, or what is this doing?
Those give you the ability to push rolls. You'll lose one of those when you push, and you can get them when another player helps you. You gain points, and also for doing fun things. Rolling double sixes will give you points. And I didn't
roll a double 6, but I did end up with a 13 on this roll.
You did a render. Okay, fantastic. So you rolled an 11, and with your +2 gave you a 13. So yeah, tell me what that looks like. I assume you're bobbing and weaving through the dark places.
What I actually think this is like, this is, you said it's kind of like an older kitchen, right? Like this is me, like literally just like I look around and I start taking a step forward, and like there's a moment where like the ground creaks, and I'm like, that's not a good idea. And so like I then like scurry underneath the legs of like the wrought iron counters and like stove and stuff that are going around the edge of the room, and I'm just like, I like scurry like a little rat boy around the edge of the room to the other side.
Yeah, and as you're doing that, you hear a little bit of a conversation between the two, and the woman speaks with kind of a raspy, almost hoarse kind of voice, and she's like, "Almost time to add the meat." And he just kind of answers with a grunt of the things that she says.
I wonder what kind of meat it's gonna be.
What could it be?
I really love pork.
Long pork.
Yeah, so I just want to make my way over to the spice cabinet and check out some of these weird spices.
Yeah, and so you do, and you see, in just taking a look at it, you see what you would expect. You see, cinnamon and basil, and garlic powders, but you also see things like, you know, ground bone. You see different kinds of insects and things like that ground up. You see a couple of jars with what appear to be giant-sized pickles with maybe some things that aren't pickles floating around in there. A jar of what seem to be like deviled eggs, and some of those eggs kind of blink back at you. So,
all right, here's the things I'm looking for. Lavender, chamomile, valerian are things I'm looking for on this this spice rack.
Yeah, so I'll say that you found that. Well, you see them, and these spice jars are maybe just a little bit smaller than you are, but they're kind of on the big side.
That's fine. I'm gonna start squeaking the lids off and pulling this stuff out while we can go back over to everybody else for a second.
Okay. So back over to Janie and Ollie.
What's that idiot doing?
Yeah, you just watched him.
He just went for it. He went straight into the room with those huge things in there.
Do you even see a way out of here?
I didn't look. I just saw this big banner thing.
I guess I had to look, idiot.
You can look. You can look. You can look.
So Janie will now pop her head
Give yourself a roll there, Janie.
Everyone's got to take their turn.
Yeah, that's it.
This is the gauntlet.
This is no teamwork. So I hit a 6 on that. Do I have any resources I can burn to improve that roll? I don't.
To improve that roll. Well, let's see. Where are you?
Can I I don't know. I should probably set it first acrobatically, or can you add talents after?
Well, on a fear roll, that's a little bit different than kind of jumping around, but I'm gonna say
I'm SOL.
Sounds like you're trying to do some mental acrobatics here. It sounds like.
Hey, idiot! I'm an idiot now. Okay, I will take a
dread.
Flat point of dread. Love it, love it, love it.
Yeah, and so
I kind of feel Ollie sees this and he's like, "Told you so."
Yeah, so Janie, I would say that it's not so much of being how scared you are of them. It's the you being mortified to the with the fact that you were wrong and it's just what he said it was, and that's the part that gets you more than just seeing these big monstrous things.
Yeah, Janie's a little shook, like 5% shook, like not feeling good. Not feeling good.
So I want to peer around the corner again and see if there's any kind of exit. Now that Janie mentioned it.
Yeah. So if you're looking at the room, the exit's going to be directly across the room from where you are. It's a large, very heavy wooden door with a large doorknob. The door is shut, and it's kind of wide open between you and that door, but you're also kind of like a theater view for the two that are working at the two tables there.
Yeah. How dark is the room?
The most of the light that you're getting in the room is from the wood burning stove and the fire on the stoves and everything. But there are kerosene lanterns floating, hanging from the ceiling, and those are the kind like you picture like like an old Western kind of kerosene lanterns that are up there.
Sure. And I'm wondering if I can use the gloaming to assist me in traversing in the shadowed recesses of this room.
Oh, absolutely. The room is dark enough for
Let's do it.
Plenty of shadows.
For folks who don't know, tell us, because I think you're the first one using this power. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing.
Let me read it. So the each one of us has an oddity, which is a power. The gloaming as follows. Shadows have never been dark to you. They appear as an oily liquid with all the colors of the rainbow melting into a swirling mass. Shadows have always been your friend, and they show you passages and secrets.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm the Psylocke of the group.
Yeah, and so I mean, and as far as for like that, what that does mechanically, you can pass through shadows without being seen. You can step into one shadow, come out on the other side, and even like I said, they show you secrets and things. So sometimes, if there is a secret passage in the room or another way, you will be able to see that as well. So.
Cool. So I think that's going to be the first order of business.
Okay.
And ideally try to traverse the entire room, but
okay.
I suppose get as far as I can.
You're just gonna ditch Janie where she stands.
Oh yeah, Janie. Shoot. All right.
Don't worry about me. I can just run across. Idiot. Like, don't do it. Like, seriously, she's just like, I don't need no boys. You're stupid.
Oh, I've got an idea.
Okay.
Where I want to take a look and see. Are there any like large groups? Well, what am I saying? Are there any like hanging pots and pans or anything that you would see in kind of like your classical kitchen with
so like above where they're cooking and preparing food, you've got the above the tables with the pans hanging all around, and then various places on the walls there's jars, measuring cups, things like that. You get the idea that they have to prepare large amounts of food for large amounts of people, so there's plenty of cookware there.
So I've one of my trinkets under my sweets, trinkets, and shinies. I have a pair of 3D glasses, a super ball, and a wolf whistle. And in this case, I think the super ball is going to come in handy if I chuck it as hard as I can at those pots and pans and just have it bounce around in there and indefinitely, not indefinitely, but as a super ball does, and use that as a distraction to help get Janie across the floor.
Okay. And so what that would be, that would be a help mechanic. So
cool.
Give me a roll to do it, and if you succeed, then Janie, when you go to roll, you'll have the ability to push into another roll result.
Okay, I need an 8 or higher. Here we go. Nope, that's not going to happen. That was a 5.
It's a 5.
Can I push it?
You can't. So
that's a question I was going to ask. Does pushing it add 1, or does pushing it move it up?
It shifts at 1 result level.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Now, you can push it by upping your dread.
I'll up my dread.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to put it all on the line for my friends, my fast friends here.
Excellent. So yeah, rolling a 5 would have been an endanger. You push it by adding 1 dread, and that shifts it over into a success. So tell me, what does that look like? What are you going to do? Are you going to tell Janie to run when you throw it, or I don't want to get I'll let you.
Yeah. I just figure I take aim and launch it as best as I can, and just grab her hand and book it.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So, what does that look like when it hits the pans?
I'm picturing it bouncing, like cascading, like ricocheting, like around,
like a pinball machine. Yeah,
like a pinball machine, and then maybe there's like a large cauldron or something like that, and it bounces in there, or like it falls into like whatever it is that they're cooking, but what have you? Like it just causes a cacophony of sounds that draw big thumb head and mask ladies' attention away from us.
And we're less tracking the ball than we are tracking the synchronized movements of y'all's 2 heads going, oh.
Yeah, so the ball does it hits a bunch of them, starts ricocheting back and forth, and then bounces over and falls into said stew that's boiling on the table. A couple of the pans fall, and when they do, you hear her, just, "You idiot, I've told you to fix this several times." And he like slams his, the meat cleaver he has down, and he throws his hands up in the air and turns around and starts getting something out of the oven. And she's trying to pick up things off the ground. So it's giving you plenty of a commotion for you to, the two of you to get across. Where are you getting across to? Where are you going after you get across over there? I know there's the door there, but it's quite high, taller than you are. The handle is. So.
Since the door is really tall, isn't there like a crack underneath the door that's really tall too that we can sneak under?
Okay, yeah.
This last time I played this audience, it doesn't work. I'm not gonna not try it again though.
Well, Janie, you said you were shorter than Tommy. Are you shorter than Ollie as well?
Yep.
You're on the small, tiny side, and you can fit through, but just barely. The other two, it's a no-go for Ollie or.
See you later, suckers.
Bye, idiots.
After I helped you too.
When she sneaks under there and does a quick scan of where she's at now, like back above, she's thinking, she's like, there's a good chance that the door was probably locked, and maybe it'll be unlocked from this side, or there might be a giant ladder that she can climb up and unlock the door.
As you look around, it's not a giant ladder. It's kind of stone floor. Wide. The hallway is not as wide as you would expect it to be for the size of the beings in the other room. It's probably just wide enough for them to fit through. So probably like 5 to 6 feet across. But the ceilings are tall, and it extends in either direction as far as you can tell into darkness. There doesn't seem to be anything else out there that you could use. You do see that on this side of the door, there's the doorknob. It's not a doorknob. It's actually a door handle. So,
she's gonna try to figure out, like, is this possible? Is it so far up that there's like no way she can like do some sort of like climb, kick, flip? It's like, I saw it in a movie.
Well, I mean, little Janie Jaguar does have acrobatics, so maybe so. Yeah,
maybe
it's not out of the realm.
She's also a big fan of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I mean, like, has been watching that and jumps and kick flips. Yeah. She's gonna try to do some like parkour shit up the side of between the door jam, like the door jam and the door. It's gonna be pretty impressive if she can pull it off. Shall she roll?
Yeah, and your acrobatics talent gives you a +1. So
cool. All right, here we go. It's a 7 total. So
7 total. So, and you can use a point of on your talent there to shift that up to a success.
Okay, so I just uncheck that box.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Barely. So yeah, she gets up there.
And you grab onto the handle, and we're gonna cut back to the inside of the room, and we'll come back to what happens with the handle in just a second. Lump, you've been over there.
Yeah, so
collecting.
I've been collecting. I'm gonna just like try to stick him in a little whatever the equivalent is of ye old tea bag in this room to make a little bundle of herbs, and I can only assume for horror vibes that this is either a gas or wood burning oven. I think you said it was.
Oh, absolutely, wood burning. Yes.
And I'm gonna go over, and as angry guy, Thinny McFlesh pot gets whatever gets out of the oven out. I'm gonna toss this bundle of herbs into the oven and watches the smoke just starts pouring out. So these are all sleep aiding.
Okay, I was going to ask for Frit. I didn't think he knew what that meant. So asking for Frit, what exactly would happen if you were to throw that into a fire.
Yeah. I did also take as one of my skills herbology.
Okay.
Because what 12-year-old doesn't love studying herbs, especially the ones that you can use in pranks and hijinks. And so this very kind of overwhelmingly sweet, but also somewhat bitter aroma will start like pouring out in this heavy smoke around the room. This would be like as if somebody had thrown a bunch of fresh hay onto it. There's going to be a lot of initial puff of smoke, and it'll fill the room, and it'll be coffee and obnoxious for everybody in it. But it's 100% his attempt to make these things go to sleep. Whether or not it works doesn't matter. In the 12-year-old's mind, this is 100% going to work.
I feel like the camera focus changes and focuses on Ollie like in the background, and I do that GIF with like the bearded guy who just like very much approves of what he's seeing.
But yeah, so yeah, this is 100% a 12-year-old's attempt at like herbaceous knockout gas for monsters.
All right, excellent. So I want to see this happen. So I'll go ahead and say that you can sneak over there since you had such a good sneak roll before, and they're still distracted. So I'll say you can just toss that right in without being noticed.
Cool. Do you want me to roll to see how this effective my dumb idea is?
Yes, let's give me a herbology roll to see if you got the right stuff in the right amounts.
Oh, it's not looking great. Okay, so I did get an 8.
Okay.
Can you push up to a perfect roll?
I
know you can't push out of a failure.
You can't push.
Okay,
out
you
of a
can't
failure.
push out of a total failure, right?
Correct.
Can I push into an ultimate success?
You know, as a GM, I tend to do rulings instead of rules, and right now, why not? So yeah, go ahead and you can push that 8, which is a success. You can push that on up into a triumph.
Yeah, I want to push it into a triumph.
Why not? Excellent. So what does that look like? Since this is exactly what you wanted, it's working out exactly as you planned.
Yeah. I don't know what these things are. I do know what these herbs do, and these are all herbs that my grandma used to put in her tea. That she would make us at night. It would help us go sleepy sleeps really good. That was before she died, and I got sent off to the orphanage. And so we see, I think, like. In whatever weird kind of liminal space that we are existing in at this point in time, I love the idea this is like almost purplish smoke, right? Like starts huffing out of the oven, and I think there's like an immediate recognition by one of these two creatures. You can decide which one it is. Of like, this isn't right, right before like they sniff it and then like start to like get woozy and lightheaded. And I think the other one hasn't noticed yet, but yeah, it's going to fill this room with like purplish dreamy tea smoke.
Yeah, excellent. And so yeah, exactly, that's exactly what happens. The room begins to fill with smoke. The big guy who is down getting stuff out of the oven, you suddenly hear a crash as he kind of collapses down on the ground, and you know, with the purple smoke just kind of billowing around him. And you know, since you got such a good roll, yeah, you did it really well, almost too well. The smoke is kind of pouring out a lot thicker than you expected.
Yeah.
The room is quickly filling with smoke, and you see her turn as he falls and crashes onto the floor, and then at that point, she quickly takes a very aggressive stance, kind of leaning down, grabs that big knife that she had and starts scouring the room with that stretched face over her skull. And her eyes train on who is out in the open. Ollie, was that you or Lump?
I would be right by the door.
You'd be right by the door?
I don't know if that's out in the open. I could probably disappear into some sort of shadow, I suppose.
Okay.
If need be.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm I'll go ahead and say it was you, Ollie. Just because Tony pushed into a triumphant roll, I don't want to punish him for doing so.
Let's do it.
So Ollie, yeah, and immediately she trains her eyes on you, and she says, little one, and she goes trampling towards you, and yeah, it sounds like just this rickety. It sounds like a rickety wooden thing coming towards you as her bones are shifting and moving as she's coming towards you, and with that face stretched out into a maddening grin as she's, and with that butcher knife, which to you looks like a very large sword.
I'm going to be rapping on the door behind me.
Janie, you got the door? Can you open it?
Yeah, Janie's dangling and holding onto the door.
Yeah.
I shall be right back.
Okay, I'll tell you what. If you guys want to take a break right now,
that sounds like a great place.
Okay.
With stretched skull woman bearing down with giant butcher knife sword. We're gonna go to a break. We are playing NightThings. We're gonna take a 5-minute break. We'll be back at 25 after the hour to play a little bit more. By the way, in the meantime, I enjoy this music by our very own Halo. For all you out there watching right now, we'll be back in just 1 minute. A couple things we've got coming up here on Plus One EXP. Sunday afternoon, we are sitting down with Ulysses Duckler, also known as US Duct Tape, to talk about TWJam, which is live over on GameFound right now. It's a game about the reality of transformation. It's a tarot deck-based game. I'm very much looking forward to sitting down with Deck and Sam Lay, also known as Goblin Mixtape on the internet, to play along with some of the other creators from the game. On Monday, we are going to be playing Blister City, which is a Together We Go game, which is our house OSR system, but this is a cyberpunk Martian RPG by Keegan Queen from Keegan EXE. Very excited to sit down with Keegan as always and play. We're going to be playing a lot of Together We Go games over the course of the next couple months from the Together We Go Jam, the link to which is in the description. Over 36 folks who created content for games that are minimalist but narrative, minimalist OSR inspired games that are narrative forward. Go check all those out at TWJam. And on Tuesday, we're going to be sitting down with Jason Morningstar to talk about Desperation, their new gothic horror storytelling game from Bully Pulpit Games. It's live over on GameFound right now. As well, we're also going to be talking about Jason's incredible body of work, including Fiasco and other things. Tons of great games happening over the next little bit. Feel free to hit follow if you want to know here. If you want to catch videos after the fact, head on over to our YouTube channel to catch up on our backlog, short reviews, or other things. You can always support the stream over at Ko-fi.com. We'll be back in just a couple minutes to keep on playing, though. And Citizen Bree, I'm glad you're having fun. Thanks for joining us here. I'm glad it's your first time checking out a stream. That's the first thing everybody heard. We are live again here, watching Jared eat nibs. Well,
my character has her oddity is the hunger, and I haven't quite figured out a way to lean into that, but it was an excuse to get some nibs.
I have been known, somebody for a game of Justicar recently gave my judge the tilt of would do anything for a Klondike bar, so I definitely immediately had Klondike bars sent to my house while we were on stream so that I could eat them in character. You gotta lean into it, folks. And so we are gonna head back into this horrible kitchen space that we're in NightThings to play some more.
All right. Well, the way I tend to run NightThings is kind of like a TV serial. So we're back from commercial break, and so
those are some good toys.
And so in typical of how these things usually went was you'd go to commercial break just as as the crazy stretched-faced woman is about to strike, and then we're going to cut back and come back from the commercial, and she's back a little bit from that. And so a couple of things are going to happen at the same time. So on the outside of the door, Janie Jaguar, the door, you're hanging from the handle, and suddenly the handle just drops with you. At that same point, Ollie, this big skeletal stretched face thing with bobby pins in her hair, with a butcher knife raised, is coming right at you. And
how far away is she?
Right at this moment, she's right on top of you, about to attack. So, okay. What do you want to do?
And the door is not open.
The door's not open,
and I have no idea that it's opening. Okay, so what options for cover do I have? I mean, like within.
Well, the room, like we
immediate
said,
vicinity.
Yeah, like I said, there's plenty of shadows in the room. If you want
closest one, I'm gonna leap straight into it.
All right, give me a roll for that.
All right, here we go. Rolls have not been good tonight. I used them all up last night. oh well, sweet. Now that I mentioned it, 10.
All right,
yeah.
So you hop into a shadow and disappear. And at that point, she dives for you, and you're not there. She slams into the door. Janie, you're on the other side of the door. The door just clicked down. The door handle just clicked down, and suddenly the door bursts open, and this large skeletal thing crashes through the door and into the hallway, hitting the other side of the wall, and just kind of slumps down into nothing. And speaking of being a lump, what are you doing over there since you saw this thing just? You saw Ollie just seemingly disappear into the shadows, and this the giant stretched face woman slam into the door, and the door burst open.
I'm gonna grab one of those pickles and then go up to the door.
Okay. And Janie, what about you? The door just got slammed open with you on it, and you see this, crashed against the wall. You don't see any blood or anything, but the bones are kind of in disarray. It's like they're not in the right spots anymore.
And I look around at the other two. I'm like, "Did you guys kill her? Awesome, idiots!" Yeah, and she's gonna move to regroup with Lump and Ollie.
Okay. Yeah. So the big guy is still out. The room is quickly filling with smoke. The rafters are all covered. It's kind of starting to come down to your level, even at the height that you are, and it's spilling out into the hallway. What is it that what do you guys want to do at this point? Do you want to check out anything else in the room? You want to make for the hallway? Or
yeah, is the hallway the only way out of here?
From what you've seen, this is there were no doors in the pantry other than the door that you went through, and this is the only door out of the kitchen itself.
And it's super dark in here, right?
It's pretty dark. Yeah, so
I'm sure this dungeon is fully jacazed. I'm sure we can find another way out of here. There can't just be one linear path.
Yeah. Speaking of the hallway, can we go in either direction? Is there a left and a right? Okay.
Yeah, there's a left and a right. Yeah, so basically what you're seeing right now, the door is kind of broken apart off to the side. You see this, this big skeletal thing is kind of a lump of bones and everything. There's bobby pins lying, all over the ground and things like that. And
they're giant bobby pins, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, idiots! Let's go get some swords.
I'm thinking of a giant lockpick for a giant lock. So I want to grab one and just kind of like tuck it into my belt.
Yeah.
So it can sit there like a sword, but yeah, I want to hold on to it in the event that
I mean, is the giant butcher knife they had in their hands something I can pick up?
It's almost twice your size, but yeah, you could drag it if you wanted.
Nah, I'm good. I just flick open my pocket knife.
All right. You guys going to choose left or right?
Left.
You gotta put your hand on the wall and just follow it around. We're gonna go left. Yeah.
Gonna go left. Okay. Somebody give me a 1d6 roll.
Hold on. Before we leave, on the door in the corner, I'm gonna carve. They sniffed it and then whiffed it, and then as we head out.
Nice.
Fantastic.
They sniffed it and they whiffed it.
All right, who's going to give me the 1d6 roll?
I can do it.
Yeah, you go ahead. I just used my good roll.
I got a 2.
Got a 2.
I don't know whether that's good or bad. So,
we'll see, right? So you continue down the hallway. So Ollie's character can kind of see in the dark. Ollie, I would assume that you could, you may want to tell them that. You do it in character if you like. But yeah, Ollie's character can kind of see in the dark. And as you get further and further away from the kitchen, it gets darker and darker. Although the air does smell fresher and fresher than it was there, you're no longer that oppressive heat and humidity, nor Lump's fantastic smoke bomb that he tossed in the oven there. But the interesting thing is probably when you're about almost to the point where the light from the kitchen is almost a pinpoint, you hear what sounds like rickety sticks all like snapping and creaking and kind of clattering all together, and you hear like the slightest of a whisper of, "Where are you, little ones?"
Coming from which direction?
Behind you, from the kitchen.
Okay.
Janie jumps.
I'm going to turn to Janie and Lump and say, "Hey, I can see clear as day ahead. here, hold hands and just follow me. I'm gonna grab whoever's closest to me's hand and just kind of double time it, trying to lead us like away from that.
Yeah,
voice.
and as the further you get away from there, the floor begins to get a little more damp and more damp, to the point where you're actually running through about an inch or so of water, and it comes out into an open space that is probably twice the size of the kitchen, 60 feet. It's very rough. It almost looks like what you may have remembered, like an old timey subway. There's tiles on the ceiling and everything. There's lanterns hanging. Only a couple of them are lit. And again, these are those old style kind of lanterns. There is a huge track that's going down through the middle, and you see there's a platform, and then a platform on the other side, and a doorway on the other side, and yeah. But again, water is where you are, and it's down, and where that track is that separates you from the other side is full of water,
like a train track.
Yeah, but it's sunken. Yeah.
Okay, all right, fair.
So kind of like a trough going through the middle of the room with some sort of track underneath.
Exactly.
Any bright ideas?
I mean, I didn't bring my swimming trunks, but we could just, try to get across.
So the track is in the center of the room. What's on either side? Like, does it?
Yeah,
is there ingress and egress from the room for
correct.
it? Okay.
Yeah.
I kind of want to peer down and see if I can see anything.
Yeah, the water
in the direction of the water.
Oh, you mean peer down the directions where the water is coming going? So the water is flowing from your right, from your left to your right, and yeah, you could see that there's light down both sides, but it's not a very bright light. It's pretty dim around either side. On the other side, where the other passageway across this small little moat of water, it's probably like 10 feet across. You see water rolling out of it as well, pouring out of it, but it kind of goes on, and there you do see light on that way as well.
Okay. And how far is it across this trough?
About 10 feet.
10 feet. Okay.
I think we can swim it. I really do. So
yeah. I'll go dip like a foot into the water to see how it feels.
You have one of those onions still?
I mean, I got half of it. The rest of it's kind of smashed across the wall back
Throw it
there.
in the water and see if something bites us. We totally don't want that to happen, idiots.
I'll throw the half an onion I have left in the water.
All right.
So I throw the half an onion I have left in the water.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So you throw the onion in, and it kind of floats. Doesn't seem to be anything in the, nothing seems to happen. You see it kind of float. The current's pretty swift, and it starts to kind of move away from you pretty quickly. And just as it's about to get through the portal, you see something come up, a rolling thing, snatch it and kind of roll it into the water on the other side.
See, told you so.
Well, as long as we don't go down there, we'll be fine.
Yeah, but what if there's a current?
A what?
A current.
I mean, that's what it went down there. There's a current.
Yeah. Well, I mean, can you swim? I can't swim.
Oh.
I can swim, but I'm not going to go swim there. Okay, so what's on the other side of the room? Is there anything that we can use?
Yeah, it's kind of a mirror of what you see on your side.
Okay.
There's a passageway. The platform itself is kind of slanted down with water kind of rolling down into. The room is kind of domed with tile, and like I said, there's several lanterns above, but only a few of them are on, so the room is kind of dimly lit.
How high are the lanterns up above?
Oh, really high. The ceiling's like 60 feet or something. Yeah.
Mm.
Tony, your character, you chose the friend. What is your friend? Have you?
I do know what my friend is. It's not helpful in this situation. I mean, it probably is as much as throwing weird herbs into is, but not actually conceptually the way I have my friend worked out in my head. It is not. He is not going to be helpful, or they are not going to be helpful in this situation.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think we just kind of got to risk it.
10 feet that's really far.
I mean, actually, it's not. It's very short distance. I'll tell you what.
Okay.
I'll go across,
Uh-huh.
and then when I get over there, I'll throw my yo-yo back across to you, and I'll pull you across.
Okay.
Classic 10-foot long yo-yo. I'm gonna try to swim across.
All right. So yeah, go ahead and give me a 2d6 roll. You don't have swimming as a
Let me
talent.
ask a question. I don't have swimming as a thing. If I pee in this water halfway across, can I add vandalism to it?
Yeah, no, I don't think that's
that's fine.
quite what vandalism is.
I didn't think it was the intent. I got another 11 though.
But I mean, you know, I don't want to stifle your imagination.
I mean,
If
I
you wanna
pee halfway across, whether it gives me the bonus or not.
Okay, all right, yeah. Feel free to do so.
Yeah, no, I definitely pee halfway across. Because
Take
I've
that
had to
monster
go since
truck
we were
now.
in that sack, and this is, you know, I figure I can get away with it now. I rolled an 11 though.
You roll okay. Yeah, so you hop in the water and you go swimming across. You make it to that ladder I said was on the other side. And as you're climbing up and getting out, something rolls past you. It's very long. It's very dark, like dark green skin. It kind of comes, breaches the top of the water and kind of rolls by you just as you climb out of the water, and you see it kind of go past. It's, if you were to guess, it would be the size length of an alligator, but it did not look like an alligator. It was very slick, with little fins, and it was kind of snake-like almost.
Nothing to it. Here we go. I like take my yo-yo all the way over. Come on, we got this.
Okay, yeah. Janie's like, fine, whatever. We gotta get out of here somehow, and just jump straight.
So you're gonna jump for it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I'll let you use acrobatics if you want to give yourself a, do some fun, do some kick flippy handsprings.
She feels good about essentially walking up the door earlier. So
right.
Aquabatics.
Yeah. Hey, Ninja Turtles were in sewers, right? So
right. Yeah, definitely. Michelangelo. That's a 7 on the die plus a 1 is an 8.
It's 8. So yeah. So tell me, what does that look like? How are you? Are you doing some sort of fancy dive? You're just gonna do a just jump for it, or
she's just jumping? She hates swimming. She hates water. She's like, hold her nose. It just goes right.
Yeah. So as you jump, you splash in, and you make it to the other side, and again the same sort of thing happens. But while you're in the water, this thing comes by and brushes your leg, and kind of makes you skittishly hop out, and it's so yeah. What brushed up against your leg, while it looked slick and almost fish-like, it did not feel like that. It felt very bristly and hard and scary.
I mean, I was hoping Jarrett was going to use his character's ability at that point in time.
Speaking of abilities, how far away from each other are the lanterns that are 60 feet up?
There's probably like 4 in the room, so they'd be spread out to where they would give a good vantage point of light, but only the 2 in like diagonal space are on. So
okay, but like roughly space wise,
15-20 feet apart or something like that.
Okay, that's not gonna work.
All right, you ready?
Bamf up there, and then swing the lantern, and then leap to the other lantern. But that's probably too far, isn't it? Yeah, 15, 20 feet is too far for a 2 foot tall.
Yeah.
Child. All right, so next plan. I want to take note of where Janie crossed. I kind of want to go like in that direction where the creature was, and just splash the water like a bunch with my hands, and make a lot of commotion over there. But then book it like up away from where I was making the splashing motions, and from there kind of veer off to the right, and then come back towards the trough, jump as far as I can towards the other side, so I have as short a distance to swim as possible.
Okay. Give me a roll. You don't have any kind of talent or anything that would have affected it, but
12.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I was hoping one of you would fail something. but no. Yeah. So tell me what that looks like. How would a 2 foot tall kid make this a triumphant maneuver there?
Yeah, like just from experience, small kids have really fast, like fast, like little dashes, and so I after doing the pitter patter, I think that like I make a break for it and leap. I don't think I actually get that far, right? However hard you're going to try, like maybe like 4 feet or something like that. I don't foresee myself like going the full span of 10 feet like whatsoever. And then just kind of slam into the water, slam into the water, and with momentum and just like the panic paddle, get to the other side as best as I can.
Well, this is a triumphant roll. So could I offer that maybe you jump, and while you had splashed to draw the attention of the creature on the other side, as you jumped, you're 4 feet across, it quickly comes around and comes underneath you and comes out of the water to just grab you up.
Super Mario it.
Yeah, and you absolutely, yeah, you bonk it on the head, and
I will treat it as a Koopa and use it to launch myself onto the other side.
Absolutely, yeah, from the momentum of the creature. And what this looks like is kind of like a giant, like a nightmare version of a sturgeon, and comes out, slams into the bottom of Ollie's feet, giving him the momentum to go to the other side, and slams down on the other side triumphantly, I might add. And
I land running.
And so all three of you make it to the other side. The tunnel that you had looked down, there is a long passageway with a light coming from the end.
Janie's she's like, I can see it. Let's go. Let's run. We're gonna make it. I swear, idiots.
It's like the cover image.
and so okay, so so what happens is you come out into kind of like a utility room with a ladder going up to light. And climbing up the ladder, you come to a very, now again, this stuff, when I say ladders, I don't want you to assume, new age metal and everything. This is kind of 40s, 20s, 30s, 40s, something around there. Some indeterminate time in that around that time. But you come to a very large and sort of wooden ornate elevator. And so it's like an old elevator. It's made of, got wooden doors and everything. You see the button on there and everything. And there is a space for a key to go into.
Do y'all have a key?
No, but I've got this bobby pin. I'll pull it out of my belt and shove it into the door.
Do you have any?
I've got pickpocket, or I've got lock picking rather.
You do have lock
I have
picking.
both actually.
Look at that. Okay.
Look at that.
So Alex is going on a run here with Fred is going on a run here with
9.
9. Okay, so you guys, the rest of you are dumbfounded as you watch Ollie pick the lock on a door with a giant bobby pin, and but you see it has the arrow, the arrows above, and it's like an arch of numbers, and you see it slowly start coming down, and you see it finally stop and ding, and you are at the lowest level, and there's a ding, and the doors like kind of slide open, kind of a rickety as they open, and you see like polished brass all on the inside, walls, ceiling, on the floor and everything, but it's very kind of plush with like red velvet trim in areas and everything, almost to the point of being gaudy. In this case, you actually see an electric light at the top of it, and is filled with filling the whole thing with light.
I think we should get inside. Come on,
this is fancy.
Let's go. It's the way out. It's got to be the way out.
As we're getting in, I carve Ollie Lumpy Janie free on the wooden door to this thing with my pocket knife. As we get in.
Nice.
Okay, so as all of you get in and you turn to look at where you would see the buttons for the floors, you see 2 rows of numbers that go all the way up to 15, and it does skip 13. You do take note of that, but on the bottom of this brass control panel there that you see, there is a little taped note, and it says do you want to play a game? And there's some rules underneath the game.
Y'all want to play a game?
If it's going to get us out of here.
I mean, there's no out button, so yeah, maybe. What do the rules say?
Yeah.
Dare we ask?
So the rules say, it says there's 6 rules on there. The first rule says, to win the game, you must do number 1. You must press the 4th floor, and it says when you reach the 4th floor, do not, but just stay inside the elevator and for the doors to close, and then press the 2nd floor. And then the second rule says, and it goes on from there. The second rule says when you reach the 2nd floor, do not get out. Instead, press the button for the 6th floor. And then when you get to the 6th floor, do not get out. Instead, press the button for the 2nd floor. And then it says when you get to the 2nd floor, the postman will get into the elevator with you. And it says, very important, do not make eye contact with the postman. The postman will ride. I said at that point you will have to press the 5th floor, and the postman will ride with you to the 5th floor, where you will all exit.
That sounds pretty easy. I mean, that doesn't sound fun. I don't know why they called it a game.
Yeah, Janie jumps up and presses to the 4th floor.
How could this even be a game? It's just a list of rules.
Look, we're just gonna get out of here, okay?
We haven't had any luck with any of the people that we met down here. They haven't been nice.
What was their art budget on this game?
So you press the 4th floor button. The doors shut, and the elevator begins to slowly trek upwards. You see above the elevator door on the inside, there's the little needle pointer, which begins to count up floors. You see it go past the 2nd and the 3rd, and it gets to the 4th floor, and the door opens on the 4th floor. And as the door opens, you see there ahead of you, this light, it seems to go forward and left and right. and down probably 100 yards from you, you see some little. As only way you could describe it is a bunch of punk kids, very rough-looking kids. All of them with sticks, a couple of them with masks on. Some of them have garbage can lids for shields, and one of them sees you and says, "Look, there's creepies! Get them!" And so they all start running as fast as they can toward the door.
I'm gonna be hitting the two like as
What's
the closed door button, which never works.
Right.
At least stateside.
Right. And Janie's gonna like use the hairpin and take a kind of a defensive. I saw this in one of my dad's books. Like kind of like take wait with a horse pike, like.
All right, and so
just in case one of them tries to run in, and she could.
Yeah, and so you press the two. Somebody's pressed the two button.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So and so they're coming right at you, and then the doors start to shut, and one of them throws a spear toward one of you. Lump, give me a roll to dodge said spear as it gets in right as the door's shut.
If I pee on the spear,
you're gonna pee on the spear. Excellent. Are you gonna smell the pee?
can I mark dread to push this?
Yeah, you can.
Okay. I'm going to do that. It flongs right next to it. And I do pee a little bit more, even though I thought I was completely empty.
Excellent. So you start going down to the second floor. As you're going down to the second floor, the doors open, and it's kind of more of what you saw in the previous on the fourth floor, but this time it's completely blackness. You can't see more than 5 feet outside of the elevator, and interestingly enough, I was going to say, even with your gloaming, this is not a normal or natural darkness. This is something else, and you begin to hear almost a clicking, chittering sort of sound off in the distance. And
hit that sixth floor. I can't see out there.
I can
see out there.
I got one kind of like this. Watch this, and I open my mouth, and you just hear buzzing coming out, but not like human buzzing, but like insect buzzing.
Oh, nice.
Janie's going to take her turn to press the button for the next floor fast.
So as you're pressing the button, you see like tons of spiders just running quickly as fast as they can out of the darkness and into the elevator, and 3 or 4 of them get in before the door shut, and they immediately these spiders are like the size of dogs to you, and they immediately jump and try to tackle and attack all of you. So there's 3 of them in the elevator with you.
Yeah, Janie will stab with her hairpin sword.
All right. What the rest of you? What action are you gonna take?
Starting fires with Uncle Benny's wartime Zippo.
All right.
You start a fire.
Well, I'm gonna try to light the spider on fire.
Great, I love it.
and Tony, Lump, we got to hear a buzzing sound.
I'm not ready yet though.
You're not ready yet. Okay.
Especially since I know we have to come to the second floor numerous times. I'm gonna vandalize this spider with my knife.
All right. Okay. So let's give rolls all around here. There's a spider for each of you, and looks like they're out for blood. So let's Jarrett, go ahead and let Janie, since she was ready.
7 on the die, and I don't think she really has anything. Because she's wielding a 2-handed weapon.
Abracadabra.
Right.
Use it like a wand.
Yep, that's that.
All right. Well, take a dread for that. The spider gets on you, kind of tackles you to the ground, and it's scrambling to find a good place to stick its fangs into. And Ifrit, Ollie, you had that lighter out.
Yeah, Ollie's going to use his starting fires to score an 8 and light the spider on fire, because all we need is a
fire in the elevator, right?
Fire running around this wooden elevator with us. But hey, here we are.
Yeah, so you light the lighter. It scares the spider back. Do you want to actually try to get it on fire, or you just want to keep it away from you, or what makes sense in the narrative for you?
Lighting
You can
on
light
fire,
it on.
yeah.
You can light it on fire.
Lighting
Yeah.
it on fire makes sense in the narrative.
All
Just,
right.
I
Yeah.
mean, I'm scared, so I'm not really like just trying to keep it away. It's more just
Yeah.
ah!
Well, okay. It was the thing is that as it backs away, it's kind of like almost frothing at the mouth, which is good for you because apparently it's flammable, and it catches on, and the whole thing catches on fire, and it starts running around across the walls and the ceiling and everything, dripping flames all over everywhere, just running all around while it makes this high-pitched screaming noise. And while this is happening, Lump, the spider that came after you, what's your plans there?
My uncle always used to say that he was not a leg man, so I'm gonna try to slash X legs through this thing. And I rolled a 10, and so
You rolled a 10. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, you're gonna cripple it, cut its legs off. Is that what's happening?
Yeah. Like I you just watch me slicing through legs for no reason. I don't understand what not a leg man means. I'm just 12 years old, but
Right. Well, I
assume this
that,
is it. I assume this is what my uncle was always talking about.
Right.
Yeah, I imagine you kind of getting a little bit too into it and just just really going after the spider with that knife, just almost to the point of kind of, a little maybe scaring the others, from what they're seeing in you and everything. And Janie, the spider's trying to bite you. It knocked you down. You kind of lost heart a little bit. You've dropped your little weapon that you had there. What are you going to do there?
And that's when the hunger will take over. Her power sort of just manifests itself. And she's like, "Oh yeah, idiot!" And she grabs one of its legs and bites back at it.
Nice. Yeah. All right. Just give me a roll for that. Let's see what happens.
The crab shack maneuver. I like it.
6 and 4 on the dice.
Did JD's like jaws elongate or anything, or is this just
yeah?
Is there a lot of slurping? What happens here?
A little bit distinction.
Like Diane from V.
And then that's 10 on the die. So
yeah, and so as that happens and you start biting the spider, it's that same kind of that squealing, chittering sound. You biting into it, it seems like it's hurting it way more than a normal bite would, almost as if the thing would pull off its arm to get away from you. So as you grab onto it and hold onto it, and just the hunger takes over, you just begin to devour and tear into this thing. And an interesting thing happens as you start doing this. You actually gain a point in beside your oddity from the life force of the spider as you eat it. So yeah, and the rest of you, Ollie, I guess you're watching in horror as the spider you burn up finally falls down, but there are little fires all over the elevator, and Lump is busy making Swiss cheese out of his spider, and that's when the door for the 6th floor opens. And I can't. Did I tell you that 6th floor was when the
No, you said we'd have to go up to 8. Like we'd have to do this a couple times and then go
Yeah,
down.
6.
Then go to 5.
It was 4, 2, 6,
6, 2,
and then
Okay.
5.
Yeah, and so you're gonna go. You get to 6, and the doors open, and at this point there's nothing. You see similar as you did before. This actually is a little bit nicer though, and you do hear off in the distance. You hear some murmuring as if there's a party going on.
There's a party going on up here. It's a celebration.
Are we supposed to get out yet?
No, we're
Guys,
supposed to go to 2.
remember. Okay, let's go all the way back down to 2.
Gotta go back to 2.
All right, so then you go back down to 2, and
As we like shimmy for our the elevator music that's going on.
I throw the dead body that I've carved up out into the darkness when we arrive back on this floor.
Yeah, and actually the Muzak, you're hearing a Muzak version of what Jared is singing over there, playing through the elevator as you go down.
That was Tony.
That was me.
singing.
I know.
Oh, Tony. I'm sorry.
It sounded like Jared.
I can back him up though.
Okay, sorry about that. I was looking.
Oh,
looking at bookage. So, yeah. So the door opens again, and you hear the same thing. Spiders are like coming, and Tony.
I tossed the dead body that I just killed out. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And
so they know I mean business.
Yeah, and as they come forward, they see some of the fire still going. They see the burnt carcass. They see the totally destroyed carcass, and they just kind of dance around outside the door. The chittering little pitter pats of their feet.
I open my mouth again, and more buzzing comes out. And you watch the lumps on my body start to quiver a little bit.
Oh, okay. Gross, but all right.
Yeah. Gnarly. I like it.
And the door's shut again. And so
wait, wasn't that where the postman was supposed to get out?
No.
It was another one. Oh, okay. Next one's 5.
Yeah, so the next one is 5. And so you go up to 5, and the doors open, and this area looks very utilitarian. There's pipes along the walls. Interesting thing you see, there's several pipes and conduits running on the wall. Down the left side of the walls, you see a chain with several bells on that chain, and you see, you actually see the guy on the cover there that's all hands.
Mm-hmm.
You see him come running in. It's nothing but hands. It's just hands. That's all it is, and they all emanate out of one place, and he comes.
It's going to be really easy to not make eye contact with this guy.
And he comes, climbing in, and he just kind of stands there on his hands, and a couple of his arms cross and everything. And, a couple of his hands come together as feet, and it just kind of sits there. And it has what looks like a bird cage with it, that it sits down, but there's nothing inside of it. And the door's shut at that point.
Janie's closed her eyes. Janie has closed her eyes, has put her goggles on, is not opening her eyes until we hear the ding of the bell.
And that's the thing. There, you see no discernible eyes on this thing. It's just arms. It's just arms emanating out of a center spot that you can't see where one arm ends and the other begins.
I'm not even looking because it's so terrifying. I want to put my 3D glasses on and just kind of.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Why don't you all give me a roll for that to try to not look at it, and because it's standing right beside you. This will be a fear check. A roll for 8, and
that was a fail.
That was a fail.
4.
That's a pass. That's an 8. That's a pass.
All right, Tony.
I got a 10.
Got a 10. Okay, so Ollie, you take another point there.
All right.
All right. And so, Ollie, right now, why don't you give me a 1d6 roll for despair, since you're halfway through dread?
Oh no! Oh, I got a 1.
You got a 1. All right, so you lose a point.
Good, right? I'm just kidding.
Never is.
So this is what happens: is it's so much that you begin to despair and kind of lose yourself a little bit. And what happens when that happens is that your oddity it takes over more of you than it did before. So whereas you have black eyes that are all black, how would that get worse? Or it could be something completely different. I mean, you could sprout insect legs, or you could become monochrome. There's whatever, horns.
I kind of feel I feel as though if it's taking over more of my character, it's going to be that it's not just that I can see into it, into the shadows, but that I start emanating them.
Oh, okay. Is it like smoke, or is you just get darker as it gets as people look at you?
Or you just have more shadows now?
Yeah. I literally cast shadows the way that a lantern would cast light.
Oh,
right?
excellent. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so all of you see this when it happens, and Ollie gets a little bit grimmer, a little bit I guess a little bit darker. He's not only casting shadow, his features are not only darkened and he doesn't change color or anything. It just seems as if he's in not the greatest of light, and he's also emanating shadow off of him. And that's as the door's shut.
Ollie, are you feeling okay?
Not really.
And so as you're sitting there, you get that from the postman, those hand drumming fingers on the floor.
It's the start of the best Stomp album ever.
Don't look.
Don't
Everybody,
look.
shh, everybody just be really quiet. It'll be over soon.
I'm not feeling so good either.
What was that song you were singing?
Celebration, celebrate and have a good time.
Celebration.
And so what was the last button that needed to be pushed?
5.
5. And that's the out button, correct?
Yeah.
All right. So you press the 5 button, and you were on, where were you at? You were on 8. Is that where we were?
2.
So
6? No, 2.
So
You
I
got-
thought. So I actually thought. So I think there was some disagreement. I thought it was
Yeah.
actually 2, 4, 2, 6, 2, 8, 2, 5.
Okay.
Was what I thought. However,
Okay.
what we just agreed on a second ago was actually just
Okay.
2, 4,
Okay,
2,
cool.
6, 2, 5. Which is
Well, the instructions are right there.
All right.
Let's read the rules again.
So you read the last one, and the last one out was Tony. You tell us. You're making canon now.
do what?
Yeah, you tell us what the
floor?
last button to press is.
What the actual the entire time we were always getting out on 5.
Okay.
Whether we
I
went to 8 and back down to 2
okay.
beforehand was the thing that was in disagreement.
All right. So let's just say we were at 8 when the postman got on.
Cool.
And so you're going to press 5.
Great.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So 5 is pressed. You start going down. It's similar as before. It starts to shimmy and shake, but suddenly the light above begins to kind of flicker, and it's no longer just a normal incandescence. It begins to drop down through shades into like a deep purple magenta. And it's at that point that the postman, who you did not see any eyes on before, is now covered in eyes all over. You see
No, I'm not
the
looking.
reflection.
I don't see that.
From
I
the
don't see
brass, from the brass walls. You see the eyes everywhere, and the eyes are suddenly everywhere looking at you.
Great. As that happens, I just start barfing out bees after bees after bees as they come buzzing out of my mouth. As I can no longer contain my friend, who swarm over to the postman and start stinging all his eyes.
All right. Well, as that happens, okay, so this is kind of the end event here, the bad of the bad. The doors open, and so everybody give me a roll. Tony, I want you to give me a roll for your friend. And the other two, I want you to give me a roll to not look at the eyes.
I'm gonna push my friends.
Okay, yeah, that sounds
I got it.
Good, because I failed, so it's a 7. So now it's a successful. Thanks.
all right.
And I had a 10, so
So,
we're good.
so Tony, tell me what that looks like with the bees going everywhere.
So anybody who's paying close attention to Lumpy at this point in time, which no one is, because there's bees barfing out of his mouth, and everybody's probably paying attention to that and the eyes, would notice that all of the lumps on his body are suddenly gone. Bees pop out of my mouth. We even see, camera zooms in uncomfortably as a couple crawl out of my nose. It's that mix of loud barfing noises and buzzing at the same time that I couldn't possibly attempt to recreate if I wanted to without actually having bees barf out of my mouth. And it's hard to manage that on command. And yeah, they swarm over around this thing, and just start stinging eye after eye on this thing's body as it's all popped out. I also think, like, essentially it also just obfuscates him as this giant swarm of bees surrounds him.
Excellent. And so the doors open, and on this floor, fifth floor, you see what seems to be like a schoolhouse of sorts. It's the hallways and everything, but there are multiple doors. You see several doors going down the hallways, and it goes from the left to the right and straight ahead. And as you all run out of the elevator, escaping this, this all the attacking bees and the postman thrashing around trying to get away from the bees and everything, you walk out to see an old, well, not a little, but you see a giant old lady wearing a porcelain mask, with a very creepy, unnerving smile. And step into your path, and she says, "Well, hello there, little ones," as she reaches and grabs you.
Dun dun dun. Shoot back in next time.
We almost survived.
Almost made it. But yeah, that's
awesome.
That's our one shot for NightThings there.
Awesome. We're going to do our reaction roll. Reaction roll is a live stream inside of a live stream. It's our chance to sit down with the creator of a game we just played and talk to them about what it was like to play that game. Today, we are playing NightThings. And now we're going to talk about it. For folks who are just joining us, Halo, why don't you tell us a little bit about what NightThings is and is all about?
Okay, so NightThings is a game about this place called this orphanage called the Endless. And in the Endless was created and orchestrated by someone to force children into despair. And so coming to the Endless, they have to pass however they're kidnapped and snatched from the real world. They pass through this thing called the Old Dark, and coming through the Old Dark is where they get these oddities, being touched by I should tell you that the Old Dark is not the scary dark. It's more of the dark sacred night, and this is on the edge of evil. And passing through, it's a gift. The oddities are a gift to help protect the children and give them the strength to stand against the NightThings. And so it's all about facing your fears. I mean, it's a horror game, of course, but it's about being able to stand up against those things that are scary, those things that are frightening, and be able to fight back. You can escape the Endless. Basically, there are different levels of the Endless and different things. So in the game, there will be like the dormitory level, where there are where I have several tables set up that you can roll for different scenes that can go on through there. What you went through tonight was the kitchen of the disreputable chef. So you had beetle-eyed chef there and bobby pins. There's another one where you get to see Mama, and another one where you actually get to take on the postman and other things like that. But yeah, so there's different powers and things to help you get through. And there are other beings out there too as well. There are Grimalkins, which are these kind of think like the cat in Coraline, where they can go where they please and they can assist. And then there's also Hobbs, which are kind of like tiny little gremlin kind of things that can assist and help. But yeah, it's I've tried to create a little bit of the NightThings, a bunch of different things that I find scary myself. And I hope that others will too, and I hope they'll have some fun with it and try to give players some tools to be able to play. I've got lots of tables for random encounters. I've got tables for character names, Hobbs names, Grimalkin names, NightThings. There's a lot of poetry in here too. I didn't give any of the poetry out tonight, but and also there is going to be a soundtrack as well. So I think Tony played some of the music earlier, and
the intro and the break music that y'all heard was some of the music that Halo had come up with. So
and Halo beat me to it. I was going to mention the soundtrack. I would also like to say we are coming to Kickstarter to a Kickstarter near you in the very near future. We have some fabulous art on the way by Brian Koldrick of Behind You fame. He has had a long-running webcomic series of animated GIFs that are absolutely amazing. So check those out if you can. Brian Koldrick is on, I believe he's on Tumblr, but he has his own website as well. Very Googleable, I suppose. And yeah.
Awesome. If you're watching live right now, you have thoughts or questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. If you're watching later, drop them in the comments. We'll get some attention brought over to him also too. Let's hear from Jared. Jared, it sounded like this wasn't your first time playing.
This is, in fact, my second time playing it.
Your second time playing. You're a professional.
Yeah. So,
what was it like?
It's fantastic. Different into last time, and so it wasn't. Yeah, I can definitely see when I get a chance to run this eventually. That I will. I'm more of a Halo. Did you roll to do the rooms as they come up, like tonight live, or did you?
I actually did. Yeah, the elevator is one of the things. Also, one of the area that you went into is the sunken below. There's things that can happen there, and then the elevator is another one of the scenes that. So yeah, I did roll. I let you guys roll the first one, and then I rolled the second one.
Cool.
So
and see, I'm the kind of guy I'll be like, no, we're just gonna go through all of them.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a gauntlet. Then people, what? Yeah, no, we're gonna gauntletize it.
Well, funny you should mention that. There is the a Droog's gauntlet, which some of those little punk kids. There's a whole little area that's set up as traps and things like that. Because basically, when you come to Endless, you either become a creepy, or thanks to Jarrett, or you become a normie. And normies are the ones that don't have powers, and creepies are the ones that do. And so the ones who don't have powers tend to gravitate toward being in the Droog, and that's a bunch of punk kids who just run around and actually kind of work for the NightThings. But yeah.
I love the whole vibe of it. It's very, very good. I really enjoyed playing. I had my two immediate thoughts are, one, you should 100% add commercial break tech. Brindlewood Bay, which is live right now on Kickstarter, but you can go download like the preview version, has a commercial move. So do a couple other games I played, but dumb, weird, creepy Saturday morning cartoon stuffs that give people like advantage if they do an improv like weird commercial right before, and it could be a lot of fun in this game.
That's fantastic.
Like it's a piece of world building. I want to know, so what happens if we hit, if you get lost, what happens? Like, I mean, obviously that's kind of the end of your character, but narratively, what's that process?
Well, like I said, I have some tables. Oh, you mean lost as far as your character? Yeah. So
yeah, like the mechanical reality of getting lost.
Yeah, so you fall into despair at that point, and you've kind of lost yourself. You lose yourself, essentially. And at that point, the Hound comes, and the Hound is a night thing that works for this dark, sinister, evil guy named the Seneschal. And the Seneschal is kind of the head of the NightThings. And the whole point of the Endless is to wear kids down until they do despair, and then that's when they become profitable. So
it's such a cool piece of world building. Tell me a little bit more about what advancement looks like and what kind of things look like session to session, since we're not going to get a chance to see that.
Yeah, so you can, like I said during the game, by helping others, you can get points, and those you add on to your talents or your your oddity, and you're able to use those to push. But as far as advancements, after every session, the characters get a point that they can use to increase their oddity or add a new talent or increase one of the talents pluses, and then also MVP players can get that the group votes on would get an additional point as well. So as the games go on, and you have episode after episode, you can get to a point where you can hear yourself. Now, we did not use mementos, which I wanted to kind of mention those. Those you can do. Those are kind of like your sentimental items that you can use those, like remembering mom and dad, or remembering your favorite toy or something like that, and you can use those to reduce dread during the game. And
yeah, I just used mine to cut up spiders and poke holes and
yeah,
right, same.
Yeah.
I lit them on fire.
Right, and yeah, they do the same thing. They do the same thing, correct? Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. I love it. I also love any game that lets a 12-year-old specialize in herbology. I think that's a real win. I also just love the freedom of being like, yeah, if there's something else you want to do, like that a 12-year-old can do, type it, like write it down, and right. Which lets people think about what were the weird things I obsessed with when I was 12. But no, I just super creative. Like, I really, really enjoyed it. You said you guys were coming to Kickstarter. What's your funding goal? Ish. No one's gonna.
Yeah. So funding goal is gonna be 4,000.
Okay. And you said we were talking a little bit earlier. This is gonna be a slightly heavier book. You're talking about 120 pages. Is that what I heard?
120 pages with a stretch goal of a hardbound, Smith soon, all the works.
Awesome. Cool. Any other things that y'all are really excited about for the game that you haven't had a chance to talk to folks about yet?
Well, I mean, the soundtrack, we plan to do a cassette, right?
That's right. We've got a cassette on the way, and that's gonna be a lot of fun. Right. Yeah.
It'll also be available digitally.
We're bringing it back.
So, yeah.
I bought the other day. So I have so far to play RPG media. I bought a record player again, which, because I've owned them before, and that's not a really big issue. I've actually bought two because both of my teenagers have now stolen the two record players I have bought, and I need to go buy a third one, which is great. I bought a cassette deck. I also went the other day and bought an external floppy drive because people have started putting them on things, and so I keep on buying things that I can plug into my computer to play outdated modes of RPG music, because I keep on buying it. So I'm super excited to hear that.
So you're saying we should go with mini disc?
Yeah, I haven't bought a mini disc player yet.
Can't let Philip Reed be the only one.
Can't let Philip Reed be the only one. Laser discs, laser diskettes, would be huge. I would love to see an 8-track, at some point in time. Let's make it happen.
5 1/4 floppy.
Just send out sheet music, let people do it. Their DIY,
Fantastic.
dungeon synth for your game. And so, no, I'm super excited about it. Can't wait to see what comes of it. I know that y'all are probably still finalizing all this. You said you're in review right now. So are we thinking, is it going to be looking at later on this month, sometime in June? What are y'all thinking?
Yes, within 3 to 4 weeks. Yeah. Okay,
cool. So sometime in early summer, late spring, check it out at a Kickstarter near you. I had an absolute blast. Any final thoughts from anybody, Jared? Any questions you want to ask now that you get that beautiful orange glow going?
Yeah, this is my natural look, Tony. No, I'm just I'm excited to get to do my part of working on this sucker here pretty soon. So now that I've played it a couple times, got a good taste for what it's like. I'm stoked. So.
What did that spider taste like as you've been in?
It tastes like the Taco Bell that should be here in just 2 minutes.
Excellent. Well, with that said, we're gonna make sure Jared gets to eat. We're gonna go ahead and bounce out. Please make sure you go to ttrpg.link/NightThings game. Follow these beautiful folks on the internet and check out the Kickstarter as it goes live. We don't have a good way that we end stream, so until next time, we're just gonna wave at the cameras until I take us offline. We'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.